Hi, my name is Matt. I'm the teen librarian at the Kinderhook Library. And for our book talk today, we're going to talk about actually a television show, one of my favorites, and I know it's been really popular, Stranger Things. So, Stranger Things is fantastic. It's spooky, it's eerie, it's fun, it's campy, but it's also got a lot of heart to it. And so I wanted to talk about a lot of books that you should read if you're a fan of Stranger Things like I am. So the first one we're going to talk about is probably the most obvious selection in our entire collection. It's actually nonfiction, but it is sort of a behind the scenes making of the show. It covers the first 2 seasons, I think. If you're a fan of the show like I am, you definitely want to check this one out because it really delves in deep behind the making of the show, the characters, what goes into making a nice eerie thing like Stranger Things. And it's got a lot of good. They have sort of analyses of the characters. They have the upside down section, which is always fun. It's just a lot of really great, interesting factoids that you would enjoy. Again, if you're a big fan of the show. It goes into sort of the history of, government experiments and stuff like that, all the things that make Stranger Things great. So again, in our nonfiction section, we can request it for you if you would like to borrow it and catch up before you binge the entire series again, or when they finally announce when they're doing season 4, because I haven't heard anything about that yet. Hopefully soon. The next one I want to talk about is probably the best non-Stranger Things story I have read so far. It's called Paper Girls. It's a graphic novel series. We have the first volume in the collection, but there are a bunch out now, so you could request them through other libraries in our system. Tells the story of 4 girls who are paper girls. They have a paper route in the 1980s. And very quickly, they get caught up in a lot of sort of interdimensional time travel, war between different factions. It's way too bizarre for me to try to condense into a really short video like this, but it has the same feeling as Stranger Things. Again, you got this great, very core group of friends who just get sort of wrapped up in things way beyond what they ever imagined they could possibly get wrapped up in. So the next book I want to talk about is sort of more if you're into alien abductions and occurrences and stuff like that. This is called When the Sky Fell on Splendor. First of all, if you know me, you know that I love covers, and this cover is fantastic. When the Skies Fell on Splendor by Emily Henry. It's about 6 kids who end up caught in a sort of explosion at a steel mill that leaves them all with very strange, unique, and terrifying powers that may or may not be brought to them by aliens, maybe brought to them by the government. It sort of doesn't really answer any questions until you get to the very end. It's got a great cast of characters. They're all very mixed, very different people, so there's going to be somebody that you probably relate to. Kids on bikes always seem to be a good theme with the Stranger Things crowd. It's very nostalgic, isn't it? But yeah, this one, like I said, you don't really know what's going on until the very end. It's a great mystery, it's a great thrill ride, and I highly recommend it. The last one I'm going to talk about is scary. It's probably one of the most eerie, disconcerting books I've read in a very long time, and I read a lot of scary, disconcerting books. This one is called Bent Heavens by Daniel Kraus. It is, I can't talk about it without giving away too much, unfortunately. It tells the story of a young girl named Liv whose father went missing after becoming obsessed with aliens. So he was convinced that aliens were watching them and that they were about to, abduct him or something. and started setting traps for them, and really went off the deep end when it came to aliens. Dragged her into their expeditions, her and her friend, and then vanished. So the story picks up soon after, I think a year after he vanishes, when one of his traps actually ends up catching an alien. And I will leave it at that because to say more would be to give away too much. It's a difficult read because it ends up being very much a horror story. So if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, if it's going to keep you up at night, I can't necessarily recommend it. But if you want to try it, I definitely recommend it. It's a great, well-written story with terrible characters and decent characters, struggles and trauma, and just an intense read. If anybody does pick this one up, let me know what you think, or any of these actually. If you have other recommendations of books that you've checked out that that remind you of Stranger Things, definitely let us know in the comments below. I think we're all itching for the next season to come out. I know I am. That's all I've got for you today. If you're a fellow fan of Stranger Things, drop an 11 in the comments below, and recommendations for other things that we should watch or read while we're waiting for the new season to finally come out. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you in November.